Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Coco X Chella, or Toya, some of you may know me as, and here we are back again with episode 2 of Coco with Coco. And of course I have my trusty aqua, my little red cup. So this is what I'll be having to lubricate my esophagus with, as always. Refreshing. Right, so I just wanted to add a different dimension as well to Coco with Coco. So I'm gonna let you know, like my little outfit of the day, what I am wearing today in this episode. So this top today is Bite Me, if you can see it. Let me move my locks out of the way. Keeping with the red and black theme that I have is from Boohoo, and I'm just wearing regular shorts, but these shorts are from St. Pierre, but I actually don't know what happened to them. I think they might have closed down because I was buying my boyfriend quite a lot of tracksuits from there, and then they just disappeared. But these are the shorts that like no longer fit him now since he's bulking, so they're mine. I have the little inverted cross, so that's my outfit today, looking very cozy and comfortable. So today's topic, I just wanted to speak about something that's actually very close to my heart, something that I have experienced when I was younger, something that my friends even experience to this day. And I think a lot of you who watch this would have also experienced it. So I thought it'd be very important to talk about it. And the topic is bullying. I'm only going to be speaking about like my perspective on bullying. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, like what makes a person become a bully. Usually from what I've seen that do become bullies are people who are unhappy, maybe they might have a horrible home life, or maybe things aren't going right for them, and that envy and jealousy just manifests into just like direct attack and obsession and just anything to make their target feel as miserable as they do. That is basically what I've picked up. There might be other elements to it, but usually that is the vibe that I've experienced myself or I've seen other people get. If you know any other reasons why bullying might start, please like drop a comment and let me know your story if you were bullied and whether you actually managed to reconcile with your bully, if they explained why they were acting the way that they were acting. Maybe your ideas on what makes a person become a bully. Maybe you were a bully and you learn, why you was acting that way. If you were, I would actually love to hear from you as well, so drop a comment below, and yeah, I would love a discussion on this. So I just moved my plushies out of the way because they were taking over the whole screen. I was just like, darling, this is not about you today. So I'm going to actually do a story time about the time when I was bullied. I was about 15, 16, I would say. That was the first time that I experienced like proper bullying. Obviously, like you'd get picked on growing up and it's just banter, isn't it? You just take it as banter. It's your friends. Like when I was at my school before, it was fine. I didn't really experience bullying between peers like that. And considering as well that I was the only black girl in my school, I did not experience bullying. Isn't that insane? But I generally do think it was because I did a lot of sports and I was on the sports team, so I was quite popular. So I kind of just under the radar. Now it wasn't until I left and I started hanging around with emo scene kids, skaters, that's when the bullying began. And you would have thought it wouldn't have been there because you're all outcasts of society, so you would have thought you all sort of stuck together. Not for me, that was not the case. So basically I was with my friends, a girl and a guy, and we were walking through the town centre, and there was this part in the town centre where everyone, all the emo scene kids, used to hang out, and it was called Circles. No idea why it's called Circles. There was no circles. It was just, I suppose, like the way, like the architecture, it used to curve. So maybe that's why it's called Circles. I don't even know who called it Circles, but it was called Circles. So we used to hang around there. And I thought, this is great, like this is the first time I'm seeing people that are like me. Like obviously I had my friends, but there was like a group, like massive group, and there would be like 30 of us, like it was mad, maybe more. There was just loads, and people would be doing parkour, people were skating, people were just chilling, taking pictures. It was a good time. So that's where everyone used to hang out, and it was a vibe. It was an absolute vibe. So I was there a few times and all was good. Made some new friends, like I'll add you on Bebo because that's what it was called back then. Bebo. Do you remember Bebo? Does anyone remember Bebo? Is anyone of that age where they remember Bebo? I'd love to like reactivate my account and just see my old pictures on there. Just a trip down memory lane, just so I can cringe in peace. Like, so let me just cringe on my own. I won't show nobody, just let me cringe on my own. This is how I actually came across the two people that were going to bully me, which was funny because I actually, one of the boys that was doing it, I was all right with him. Like we used to talk all the time. And then something just switched. I think it's because he made a new friend, and the new friend was not very nice. She was not very nice at all. So it all began with some pictures that I uploaded. If I can find the pictures, I might actually just post them. If I find the pictures, they will be here. If you see no pictures, means I couldn't find them. So basically, so I posted these pictures, and at the time I thought they were like really good pictures. I had my fake snake bites in, and like my big scene hair and everything. I was just getting a barrage of comments, and I was like, okay, like people are commenting on my thing, like maybe people like them, so I opened them, and it was just hate. It was just, you know, making fun of like my lips, how big my lips were, making fun of my facial features, just basically gunning me down because I was a black scene kid. And yeah, this was like the first time I was like, ooh, this kind of hurts a little bit. Like, I didn't know how to take it, so I kind of was just like replying back to them like, well, if you don't like it, like don't look, like kind of just trying to fend them off a little bit. But they were just relentless, just commenting just absolute hate, commenting hate on my wall. Was it a wall back then? They were just commenting hate on like my profile, and I was like playing it off a little bit, kind of like, you know, haters make me famous. You remember all that whole scene kid vibe was like, haters make me famous. So I was kind of just trying to take it as that. So I kind of thought it was just a one-off. No, every picture I posted, hate. You can't be a black scene kid. Scene kids are for white kids. And bear in mind, the girl that was saying this, she was mixed race. She was mixed race. And looking back on it, I'm like, darling, so what do you think white people think you are? Because it sure as hell isn't white. And there was another girl, I don't know whether she was light-skinned, mixed race. I don't know. But she was also saying the same thing and just saying horrible stuff about me being a black scene kid. And I was like, but you aren't even white. I just didn't understand it. It just didn't make sense. And obviously the boy as well that I mentioned that I used to get on well with, he was also joining in. So I was like, bro, we were talking all the time. So I messaged him on MSN, and I was like, what is this about? Why are you messaging me this stuff? And he kind of just sent me laughing emojis, and like, he just wasn't being very cooperative with it at all. And then he was just saying like horrible things. He was like calling me a Zulu warrior and just talking about me being black and all this stuff. And I was like, but your friend is mixed race. But obviously me saying that did not help, because then the girl got annoyed at me reminding her that she also has some melanin in her. She just got mad. And so she was like messaging me on MSN, and she was calling me Zulu warrior, and I was just like, God, like this went on for weeks of just relentless hate for being a black scene kid. Literally, that was all it was. And the fact that I guess a lot of people in the circles group liked me, maybe they just didn't like that. And so when I went to circles again another time, and I was hanging out with my friends, I was like, oh God, those lot are there, like I really don't want to see them. So we just kind of kept away from them. We're still in the circles area, but we kept away, and they were far away. Next thing you know, I'm just feeling doosh. And I was like, what is going on? So I turn around now. It's nothing painful, but I turn around and I just see that they're throwing like chips at me, but chips covered in sauce, in ketchup, just lobbing it at me. All my clothes just covered now in ketchup. So this sort of thing kind of just continued. And then I remember it being the hottest day of the year, and everyone was going out because in our town centre there's like fountains, and it's like on the ground so you can run through it. And I remember seeing on Bebo how they wanted to beat me up. So I was like, cool, I am not going to town. I'm not going. So all my friends went, and they had a great time. I just remember being stuck at home on the hottest day of the year. It was the two people, I'm obviously not going to say their names because we're all adults now. I'm going to call the guy Giraffe, and I'm going to call the girl Hippo. So Giraffe and Hippo, they were out, and I was like, no, I don't want to be there with them. So I just try to avoid them. Cut a long story short now, it got to a point where I had to let my parents know, because I was like, I can't live like this is just ridiculous. I can't hang out with my friends. If I hang out with my friends, I'm risking getting beaten up, and I'm not having this throughout the whole summer. Like, it's just not happening. It sort of got left alone for a little bit. Started getting comments again on my Bebo, because obviously they hadn't seen me, so they had to just remind me that they were still in the vicinity, they were still there, that I still, you know, was living up there rent free. They had to let me know. This fateful day now. So I don't even know what was going on this day, but my mom was having a bad day. Like, she was on the phone, she was arguing with someone, And then we went outside the shop. 2 people were fighting. She was screaming at them to stop fighting. They actually did, which was mad. They were looking around like, what? And then we walked up the town centre up towards Circle. Now, we wasn't going to Circles, we were just walking up there because that direction was Debenhams. My mum loved Debenhams back then. So we're walking up towards Circles now, and my dad sees one of his friends. So they stop and they have a conversation. So it's my mum, my dad and his friend. So they're having a conversation and I was just like, oh, well, I see quite a lot of my Circles friends and I can't see them too. So maybe it's safe to go over. So I'll go and talk to them and I'm hanging out with them. So we formed another little group. Eventually, Giraffe, he comes over. Hippo stays far away. Like, I don't want to be here whilst he's over here. So I walk away. Mum's like, why have you come over here? We're still speaking. And I was just like, oh, that's one of that have been horrible to me. He's come over, so now I don't really feel comfortable enough to be over there. And the guy, my dad's friend, he stopped. Let's call him Menace. We're just going to call him Menace. So Menace now goes, who's this? Bear in mind, I've never met this man before. It's like, oh, one of the people that have been bullying me, saying horrible things and calling me Zulu warrior, like he's over there. And my mum was just like, which one is he? And I was like, the really tall one. And my dad turned around and looked and they're all standing there in a circle in that same place. And the guy was just like, I wouldn't let that slide if I was you. Bear in mind, like, my mum had already had a bad day and she did not need Menace in her ear. And he was there and he was just like, this. So this is subtouch. This is my mum and this is him. I wouldn't let that slide if I was you. He didn't even need to finish that sentence. My mum was gone down the hill. Usain Bolt, gone. She was just walking down this hill into the middle of this circle, right, of all these emo scene kids and like boys with skateboards and stuff. Right in the middle. She was like, what have you been saying to my daughter? And he was just like, what? I just remember being like, what? And she's like, yeah, what have you been saying to my daughter? You've been saying all this racist stuff to my daughter. How dare you? Say it to me. Come say it to me. Call me Zulu warrior. I dare you. I beg you, call me Zulu warrior. Like, she was just screaming at him, right? And by this time, my dad had walked down and the Menace had walked down. So basically, it was Giraffe here. So let's put it this way. Giraffe was here. My mum in his face. Menace standing behind him, and then my dad to the right of him. This boy could not run. He cannot escape. He cannot come out. He could not run. He could not go nowhere. And my mum was just laying into him. My mum roasted him in front of all these emo scene kids, and the circle got bigger. Everyone started coming down to see what was going on. And I remember this Asian boy, he was like, you've been racist. You're being racist. Why are you being racist? You know I'm not white. I'm Asian. How did you do this? Like, he was so upset. And one of the girls, remember I told you, like, she was in and out. She was hiding. She was in the circle, but she was hiding. And I looked her dead in her eye. And I could have said, look, and she was part of it too, but I didn't. I just looked her in the eye because the fear. This girl looked like Casper the Ghost. She actually looked like what she thought she was right then. And so I was just like, I'm allow her now. Looking back on it now, the demon in me would have said something. But obviously back then, I kind of was a little bit more nice. So I didn't say anything. Someone was just roasting this boy. And he was like, I can't be racist. I'm half Hungarian. And I was like, what's that got to do with anything? She's like, what has that got to do with anything? You've been saying racist stuff, calling my daughter Zulu warrior. Look, if you don't like my daughter for whatever reason, then just stay away from her. Don't talk to her, don't do nothing. Just leave it alone. And he was just like, okay. It's like, I'm really sorry. He was like, Toya, I'm sorry. And I was just like, all right, okay. And she was like, where's your friend? And he was like, she's not here. And she was like, oh, she's lucky today because I have words for her too. The funny thing is, she was actually there. She was just far away. And considering she made out she was so mouthy, she did not want none of that smoke. She wanted none of it. She just left her boy to catch the heat, and he caught it all right. So yeah, basically it ended after that. They did not say a word to me again. They did not comment anything to me again. Even when I saw them in town, they didn't even look at me. They just looked at the cracks in the pavement. They did not even look at me. So it ended there and then. So what I will say, if you are being bullied, if you're a young person watching this and you are being bullied, tell somebody, because they will dead it. Because most bullies are actually cowards. They act like there's something, but they're actually very cowardly inwards, and they're very insecure and self-conscious. And I just don't like it. I just don't like bullies, and I'll always be very vocal. And I think because I wasn't back then, I feel like I owe it to my younger self now to be very vocal anytime I come across a bully, that to let people know this is what this person's like, this is what they're doing, and I will always be that person. And unfortunately you do get backlash, so I don't look at it as, you know, if I get backlash, I know in myself I'm doing the right thing, and that's all that matters. And I do think anyone who's being bullied or anything horrible has happened and that person is still doing it, please speak up. Even if they're not still doing it and you feel like you need to express how you feel, you're entitled to speak about what you've been through. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I just wanted to end the video with that message. I just hope that I'm gonna post some links as well to like maybe some like anti-bullying stuff, so you guys don't feel alone. If you want someone to speak to, please comment below, please message me, because like I said, bullying is very close to my heart after what I've been through. Let me know your stories if you have been bullied, what you were bullied for, and comment down below. If you feel comfortable sharing, that is. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. I hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. This is episode 2, as I mentioned at the start. And yeah, be sure to like, comment and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.